I'm Lukens, and this is Escape Pod Comics' channel, new show. We're asking the question, I've heard of this person, I know something about this person, I might even know their name, but I don't really know anything about them. For our first episode, we are doing a character with more than 50 years of history. Today we ask, who the heck is Vampirella? Vampirella was invented in 1969. This costume, well, the first version of it, basically, as Gonzalez shows it here, was invented by the great Trina Robbins, who not only designed dresses for Mama Cass on a regular basis, and Janis Joplin and many others in the 60s, but was also a comic book artist. Vampirella is a vampire alien from the planet Draculon, where an astronaut from the far future crash lands on. Draculon has lost its cattle humans, and only the ruling class of vampires exists. Dracula saves the pilot from the hungry Draculonians and gets in the ship with him and comes back to Earth. She's sort of a hero villain. Who made her? Okay, so Warren, the inventors of Eerie and Creepy, which were anthology horror series much beloved in the 70s, and mainly focusing on the sort of 50s Vault of Terror, Tales from the Crypt style horror, updated for 70s. Great artists from all over the world were contributed to that magazine, and many of them went over to Vampirella. Vampirella's stories were basically horror stories with a kind of superhero-y feminist bend. Draculon was boiling hot, that's why women on Draculon didn't wear much, the men wear even less. There's all sorts of stuff laid into the mythos of her in the multiple stories, but they're black and white magazine stories. They're kind of nonsensical and bizarre. You get little bits of stories that sort of get contradicted later. No big deal. The magazine craze is sort of pounced upon by the major publishers. They all start putting out magazines, seeing how well comic magazines are selling, and Warren eventually goes out of business. Many different parts of Warren are sold to many different people. I believe Eerie and Creepy went, I could be wrong, Joey can correct me, Russ Cochran, but I could be wrong. Anyway, Vampirella sort of stayed in limbo from the early 80s until a new company called Harris came around. Harris first published reprints of the Warren stuff they had gotten, including Vampirella, and then hit upon, in the early 90s, I believe, I think it's 1990, the new craze for, mainly heavily inspired by Dave Stevens and a few others, good girl, bad girl style art and comics. The Harris line of Vampirella is almost infamous for its various sexy, scandalous covers, its multiple covers, and its marketing gimmicks like foil and this and that. Joe, we can flash a few over here. This, of course, is signed by Vampirella herself in 1994. Harris would have women in cosplay dressed as Vampirella signing things at their booths at Comic-Con and things like that. Maybe we could put a picture of that up. So Vampirella quickly became synonymous with that kind of aspect of the comic industry, and this went on until I believe they went bust in 97, 98, I don't remember exactly where. In early 2000s, Dracula is resurrected by Dynamite. Dynamite continues, these are from like 2010. Dynamite continues doing multiple covers that really focus on, you know, the sexiness and the physicality of the character, while putting in more stories that add more mythos. The Harris era really dug into side characters and spin-offs, and lots of people, there's tons of people in Vampirella who show up in the Harris run who are suddenly much more important. They're mentioned for half a second, and now they become bigger. The Dynamite run just sort of plays off all of that stuff. Little by little it adds more, occasionally going back to straight up old stories. They would do limited series that were just continuations of old stories from the 90s. What really makes Vampirella interesting currently, Vampy, as she's known to those of us close to her, makes her so interesting is that as they approached her 50th anniversary, as they got close to 2019, Dynamite started shifting the character over into slightly different direction. They still kept the limited series and things going, but they did longer run series, including a wonderful run by Nancy Collins, where Vampy becomes queen of the vampires and has to go around the world and make peace with all the different factions of vampires. Really fun. There's even a Kate Leth written run where she becomes a celebrity reality TV star for a second, hunting evil vampires. And all of that stuff references previous stories, but things really coalesce when the most recent artist. Now, I'm going to show you something. This is the most recent issue of Vampirella by the great Chris Priest. You see, nothing has really changed in the cover marketing. There are loads, actually that's the second page. There are loads of variant covers. Issue, same way Dynamite does business. If you're more interested in that, you can check out our other video on this same channel, Wither the Single Issue, why there are so many covers. But what's different is this. Christopher Priest, in 2019, Christopher Priest came onto the new Vampirella run, celebrating her 50th anniversary. And in that run, incorporated every bit of Vampirella mythos that has ever existed, and has been doing that run since. I constantly hear people come in and be like, I heard that Vampirella was pretty good. Yeah, I heard that Vampirella. Vampirella didn't get good. Vampirella was always a fun, silly series, but it's contradictory, it's crazy, it's wild. It's a superhero series that plays by the old superhero rules of just tell another story, who cares? 50s style, Silver Age. What Priest has done is come in and do a post-crisis take, where he does everything. He encompasses everything that ever happened to Dracula, creating her mother, who is the impetus of a lot of bad stuff and lots of versions of Vampirella, as the main big bad, but for very complicated reasons. And it's spun out, like I said, for 7 years. It has had a bunch of spin-offs and one-offs that connect each other. It's constantly getting renumbered because, again, variant covers, again, see Wither the Single Issue on the same channel. But what Priest has done very well is capture that original spirit of Vampirella. She is somebody who doesn't care about our social mores, the way we dress or we act. She's from a different place, who wants to help, but mostly just wants to be at peace. That's the whole general vibe of the original Vampirella horror stories from the 70s would end with her, like, very Bruce Banner, Incredible Hulk. You can do some music there, Joey. Walking off into the sunset after saving someone from something evil. Very often someone she was about to kill. But that's the beauty of Vampirella. That's who the heck Vampirella is. And please, if you like this, throw out in the comments who else you'd like to know more about. And like and subscribe to the channel to see if we actually do those. Thank you.